You think your thoughts are yours, but what if they never were? You wake up, make choices, speak like yourself, convinced your beliefs and reactions came from within. But what if they didn't? What if the mind you use every single day has been shaped, molded, manipulated by forces you were never meant to notice? Trauma, childhood survival, silent repetition, invisible programming. Piece by piece, your identity became a defense. You adapted, you shrank, you became who you had to be, just to survive, and then you gave it a name. You called it personality. But what if that version of you is not the real you? What if it's just a mask, a ghost, a shadow of who you were meant to be? The mind doesn't protect truth, it protects survival, so it hides memories. It edits reality, it builds illusions, not to harm you, but to keep you from breaking. And now here you are, lost, disconnected, confused by patterns you can't explain, relationships that drain you, thoughts that turn against you, desires that contradict each other. You try to change, you try to heal, you try to grow, and yet progress slips away like smoke escaping through your fingers. Deep down, one question haunts you. Why do I feel like I'm not fully me? Here's the answer. Because parts of your mind, the parts trained to protect you, are still in control. You think you're choosing, you're reacting, you think you're healing, you're repeating. You think you woke up, but you only woke up inside the cage. The cage has walls you can't see, beliefs that feel like truth but are lies, rules you never agreed to but still obey. And every wall whispers the same sentence. This is who you are, but is it? Or is it just who you became to survive? In this video, we'll expose the invisible structures shaping your mind, the beliefs you never chose, the behaviors that feel like you but aren't, the mental traps that keep you loyal to pain. You'll see how the mind becomes a maze, a labyrinth designed to confuse you. Every turn feels like progress, but every turn brings you back to the same place. You'll see how the mind becomes a mirror, reflecting not who you are, but who you learned to be. And you'll see how the mind becomes a prison, a magnificent cell built from everything you were told was normal. And if you're ready to look deeper, you might find the exit. But beware, once you realize your mind isn't fully yours, you can never go back. From this moment, there are only two paths: escape or remain, a prisoner knowingly. So take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear may shatter something inside you. And sometimes, something has to break so the real you can finally come through. If you're still here, it means something inside you recognizes this. Not from logic, but from memory. Not from thought, but from pain. Maybe you've always felt it, that quiet unease whispering that something isn't right, that your thoughts don't fully belong to you, that your reactions feel automatic, rehearsed, that deep down, a part of you has been trying to wake up, but no one ever taught you how to listen to that voice. Until now. This is not entertainment. This is confrontation. Confrontation with your beliefs, your patterns, your silent programming. And I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to hold up a mirror. One you may have avoided your entire life, but here it is. Look long enough, and the reflection will disturb you. Because once you see what hides behind it, you will never see yourself the same way again. And if you're brave enough to keep watching, you may begin the process of reclaiming your mind. So watch until the end. Not because I ask you to, but because the part of you still alive beneath the programming is desperate to break free. But here's the warning. What you'll hear may unsettle you, because the very mind you trust has been building your prison. Every belief, every memory, every rule, like bricks in invisible walls. The mind creates the maze, the chains, the cage. Stay with me, because the moment you recognize the walls, you're already closer to the door. Your mind is not the enemy, but it's not fully your ally either. Its mission has never been freedom. Its mission is survival. And that's the first trap, because to keep you safe, your mind began building walls long before you even understood what danger meant. It watched, it memorized, it calculated, it noticed what got you hurt, what made you invisible, what got you rejected, and then it created rules. Be quiet, be nice, don't feel too much, don't want too much, don't be too different. Not because you were weak, but because you were learning how to survive. And those rules became your personality. The overthinker, the overgiver, the one who smiles while dying inside, the one who never says what they really want. You didn't choose that version of yourself. It was chosen for you, constructed in fear, cemented in silence. And the mind, loyal to its mission, kept feeding the same story. This is who you are. But here's the truth most people never face. You are not your patterns. You are not your protection. You are not the mask your pain forced you to wear. You are what exists beneath all of that. Yet, as long as you identify with the mask, you will keep attracting situations that fit it, people who confirm it, moments that reinforce it. The mind resists clarity. It attacks anything that threatens its illusion of safety. That's why change feels like death. That's why growth feels like chaos. Because to the part of your mind that was programmed to survive, freedom looks like danger. Imagine a prisoner who's lived in a cell for 20 years. If you suddenly open the door and tell them to walk out, they freeze. The open sky feels terrifying. The silence of freedom feels unsafe. That's exactly what your mind does to you. It tells you the cage is home. It tells you silence is peace. It tells you the mask is you. But deep down, you know, because sometimes you catch glimpses, a reflection in the mirror that doesn't feel like yours, a voice inside whispering, "This isn't who I am." Moments of rebellion when you feel alive for just a second before the programming pulls you back. And that's the paradox. Your survival patterns saved you once, but now they suffocate you. The mind doesn't know the difference between past and present. It doesn't realize the danger is gone, so it keeps you living like the child you once were, always cautious, always shrinking, always waiting. But here's the question: how much longer will you obey rules you never chose? Because every time you silence yourself, you keep the mask alive. Every time you play small, you tighten the chains. Every time you let fear decide, you step back into the cell, even if the door is wide open. And here's the haunting truth: as long as you keep living by those rules, you'll never meet who you really are. The mask will keep winning, the mirror will keep lying, and the cage will keep closing, unless you decide to break the rules that were never yours to begin with. You've spent years trying to fix yourself, reading books, watching videos like this, repeating affirmations, forcing positivity, but deep down, nothing really changes. You just get better at pretending, better at coping, better at hiding the part of you that is still quietly unraveling. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? The answer is both terrifying and liberating. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're conditioned. Conditioned to doubt your own intuition. Conditioned to silence your voice before anyone else can. Conditioned to confuse love with self-abandonment. Conditioned to believe that struggle is normal, that suffering is identity, that exhaustion is just life. This isn't your fault, but it has become your responsibility. Because if you don't interrupt the pattern, you become the pattern. And then you pass it on. The trauma continues. The silence deepens. The programming survives, generation after generation, until someone finally wakes up, until someone finally says, "This ends with me," and maybe that someone is you. But awakening isn't glamorous. It doesn't look like light and peace. It looks like grief, like rage, like confusion. It looks like sitting in the fire of who you've become and realizing you don't recognize your own reflection anymore. It's not about going back to who you were before the pain. That version doesn't exist. It's about becoming someone new, someone you've never met before, someone who isn't ruled by fear, someone who doesn't beg for permission to exist, someone who no longer wears the mask of perfection to feel worthy. And here's the truth: You're not watching this because it's interesting. You're watching this because something inside you is ready to see the pattern, ready to break it, ready to become someone your mind was never trained to allow. But once you cross that line, there's no turning back. You'll start to see everything differently. Your relationships, your silence, your triggers, the way your mind attacks you in the dark. You'll see how deep the programming runs. And you'll realize something frightening. The only thing scarier than waking up is staying asleep. Because staying asleep doesn't protect you anymore. It only chains you tighter. Every unspoken truth is another lock. Every false smile is another chain. Every time you silence your soul to please others, you hand the keys of your mind back to the cage. But here's the paradox. You were never broken. You were built this way to survive. And now the question is no longer, what's wrong with me? The real question is, how much longer will I live by rules that were never mine? And that choice is the doorway to everything. Most people never really change, not because they don't want to, but because it feels easier to live inside a familiar prison than to face the unknown outside. The mind is addicted to what it understands, even if what it understands is pain. So you stay in relationships that drain you, in habits that numb you, in silences that suffocate you. You tell yourself it's just life, that everyone feels this way, that it's normal. But deep down, something in you knows this isn't living, it's enduring. And endurance without awareness is just slow decay. Here's the truth, no one tells you about awakening. It doesn't start with rituals. It doesn't start with affirmations. It doesn't even start with healing. It starts with a decision. A quiet moment when you stop lying to yourself. When you look at your life, not with judgment, but with brutal honesty. Is this really who I am? Or is this who I became? To stay safe, that single question can split your life in two, before and after. It won't give you all the answers, but it will do something more important. It will wake you up. And once you're awake, you don't need to fix yourself. You just need to meet yourself. The parts of you that were silenced, the truths you buried, the dreams you made too small to fit inside the cage. Reclaiming your mind doesn't happen in one day. It happens in moments. Moments when you stop outsourcing your identity. Moments when you stop letting old pain make new choices. Moments when you stop waiting for permission to exist. And it can start right now. Not because you're ready, not because you have a perfect plan, but because something inside you is tired of the lie and hungry for something real. The mind will tell you freedom is too risky, that change is too dangerous, that silence is safer than truth. But ask yourself, has safety ever truly set you free? Because the chains don't break in comfort, they break in honesty. They break the moment you stop pretending. Picture this, a maze that never ends. Corridors looping back on themselves. Every turn feels like progress, but every path leads you to the same cold walls. That's how your mind works when it's still chained to survival. But beyond the maze, there is a door. It looks fragile, almost invisible, and yet it's been waiting for you all along. You don't free yourself by force. You free yourself by truth. And truth has a way of burning everything false. It tears the mask. It shatters the mirror. It breaks the chains you thought were part of you. So here's the choice. Keep walking in circles inside the maze, or step through the door you've been avoiding all along. But know this, the moment you step through, nothing will ever look the same again. Not your relationships, not your reflection, not the silence inside your mind. Because once you taste even a fragment of freedom, you'll realize the most dangerous thing you can do is go back to sleep. The moment you try to reclaim your mind, it will fight back. It will whisper that you're overthinking. It will insist that you're fine. It will tell you you're just tired. It will distract you with noise, with endless scrolling, with people who don't see you, but keep you busy. It will rename your pattern's personality. It will call your self-abandonment love. It will disguise exhaustion as normal. The mind will throw everything at you to keep you inside the box it built, not because it is cruel, but because it doesn't understand freedom. It was trained in fear. And now, the moment you choose to wake up, it panics. Because you're no longer trying to survive, you're trying to become. And to the programmed mind, becoming looks like death. So, yes, it will resist. It will shake. It will scream. It will beg you to stay asleep. But you don't owe it silence anymore. You don't owe your pain a future. You are not here to be loyal to your coping mechanisms. You are here to lead, to choose, to feel. You are here to remember, not who they told you to be, but who you were before you learned to hide. The mind will say, don't change, it's not safe, but now you know. Staying the same is the most dangerous thing you can do. Because every day you keep repeating old rules, the cage grows stronger. Every time you silence yourself, another chain tightens. Every time you choose fear, you hand the key back to the prison guard inside you. And here's the paradox. You are not destroying the mind, you are dethroning it. You are not rejecting your thoughts, you are reclaiming the right to question them. You are not losing yourself, you are finally meeting who you were meant to be. And yes, it will terrify you, because real freedom always does. But behind the terror, there is a silence, a stillness, the kind of peace that doesn't come from control, but from truth. The peace of no longer running, the peace of no longer hiding, the peace of standing in front of the broken mirror and realizing the cracks are not flaws, they are openings. And once you touch that silence, once you feel that space where nothing is missing, there is no turning back. You'll never again believe the lie that says, this is just who you are. Because now you know, you are not who the mind trained you to be. You are who appears when the mask finally breaks.